All right, man, strap in because today we're going 1,000 miles an hour like our hair's on fire because today's guest likes that speed, and so do I. But before we get into all of that, of course, I got a handful of things I want to throw at you. First and foremost, a huge welcome to the B-Raw family, Craig and George of High Speed Daddy. I'm excited and proud to partner up with these guys, a couple vets that started a business with some cool, kick-ass, and unique gear for today's parenting. Link is in the show notes. Highly recommend you check them out. And if you know, then follow me for a while. And the new listeners, thanks for jumping in. But I am a super proud dad of my 2-year-old son. And I got my High Speed Daddy diaper bag right before he was born. I was looking for something a little unique. And that is definitely what I found. Product is unbelievable. Customer service is even better. Can't go wrong with these guys. And we've run this thing ragged. We've been all over the country multiple times. Of course, daily stuff, beach, park, all that good stuff. It's even been run over twice. Yeah, once by me and once by my wife. But, you know, that's how things go. The thing is still kicking, and I love it. And the other thing is I also use it for more than a diaper bag. I use it for a utility bag. And I was on a movie set recently, and I had to take a bunch of stuff with me for my role. And when I was digging out, I needed a different shirt. And I was digging that out, and a little monster truck fell out, and everybody got a kick out of that, and that warmed my heart. But yeah, definitely check these guys out. You can't go wrong. Tell them I said hello. And of course, they would love to speak with you as well. Again, link is in the show notes. And of course, the group over at Live Rishi. These guys make high quality CBD product. As you all know, I've been using it for a long time. Can't say enough good about it. And a big shout out to Charmaine. She's taking the reins over there. They went through some crazy shit and rebounded. And as you all know, I love a good get all fucked up story and rebound story. And they have one, and they're going to come on and tell all about it. But definitely go over there and support these guys. LiveRishi.com. Use the code word table50. You're looking at 50% off your entire order. That'll tell them I sent you. And between High Speed Daddy and Live Rishi, I've been using both these products for many, many years, as you know. And I can't say enough good about both of them. So please go support them who support us. Much love. And we're going to get on to this show. So Rodolfo, this dude, man, he's a lover of life. He's been through some crazy shit and has come out the other end, a good man. And we have such a great conversation, and it's high energy. And I know you're going to enjoy it. But like I normally do, I'm going to let him tell you all about it. Let's get to it. Here we go, dude. Thanks for coming on. And how did you find me? You found me, right? Yeah, you found me.
I did find you. I think I found you on Podmatch, I believe.
Podmatch? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think so. I was going through that, and then Podmatch popped you up, or I was looking for someone to go on, and I loved what you stand for, and the raw and all of that. I'm all about that. So yeah, man. I thought, what about this? Maybe go there and have a chat to the guy. You know
what? It wasn't my smiling, good-looking face that attracted you. Come on, dude. What the hell?
I didn't see that, man. I didn't see that yet, and so you know what I mean. I gotta be surprised when I jump on. Who's this guy?
throw a dog a bone once in a while. Come on, man. Come on. No, I appreciate you reaching out, and then of course I trolled you a little bit, and I was like, "Fuck, I got to talk to this fucking guy." And I didn't figure out where you're from or any of that. You know, I looked on your social media, your website, and I do like your message. You got some quotes on there. I'm a big fan of quotes.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite quotes is, "Quotes don't work unless you do."
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right. People think that you're just gonna read quotes and it's all gonna land in your lap. It's like, come on, man. Yeah. But
there's no secret to what's it called? The Secret? Remember that movie that they made? The Secret.
Get the fuck.
Just write down your check and put in your bedside table, and tomorrow you're gonna have $1 million.
Oh my God!
Bullshit, right? It ain't gonna happen.
Hey, now listen. Now listen with The Secret. There's two things. There's two things that I think The Secret. This is my two opinions of The Secret. The book or the movie and all that shit that you hear about is only a fraction of the true secret,
Yeah.
right? Because I do believe in visualization and all that, right?
Sure.
But you still got to fucking work. Come on, man,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And then I'm a fan of what I call ethical capitalism. And hey, man, somebody came up with a stick and sold the shit out of that book and made a lot of money.
Dude,
I ain't mad. Dude, I ain't mad at you a bit. I'm just upset I didn't get to hold a little of that. Come on, jeez.
Man. And still today, you know, still
crazy,
today.
right? Good,
yeah, especially in this pseudo spiritual world, you know, where everybody wears mala beads and sits under a tree and waits for shit to happen. And yeah, like you, I believe in the visualization, in affirmation, and you know, you want to have a direction, right? Because everybody talks about the journey, but man, where are we going, right? We got to go somewhere. We can't just be on a journey, whatever,
right.
You know. And I think that's where the message stopped. You know, I just read this, say that, and just put your paper into the thing, and it's just going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Trust me. Because if it would, it would have happened already for me, because I wasn't always that diligent. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I agree with you on, you got to have some kind of direction, right? You can't just throw a boat in the ocean and be like, bye, here we go.
Let's see where the wind brings us.
Well, you can do that, right? I don't want to take that away. Somebody can do that, sure. But most people have a direction. And I did a speech a long time ago. I used to do a lot of public speaking. And I'm one of those guys that I do not have fear of public speaking. Like you could teleport me right now in front of, 1,000 people and go. And I'd be like, okay. And I just start telling stories and shit because that's just the way I am. Yeah. And I had this kind of theory that I was working on for a long time, and I got out of the space because when you're an entrepreneur, I had my own business and stuff. And when you're an entrepreneur, when you go to speak, that's what people want to hear, right? Mm-hmm. And now I like this because now there's no ceiling, no floor. We can go in any direction. We can talk about anything. Yeah. And the analogy that I used to use is a road, right? So if you go out in the desert and you see this fucking road that goes to the horizon, there's a double yellow line in the middle of it, and there's white lines on each side. Now, your double yellow line is your vision and your direction, okay? And using me for an example in the business I was in, I know I want to stay on the yellow line, but every once in a while, I'll veer off to the white line to make $500 because somebody says, hey man, can you help me with this? I'll give you $500. Ooh, I can't pass that up. Right. So now I veer off to the white line, but my yellow line is still in my vision. And that's the direction I'm still going. And then you go over to the left white line, and then you stay on the yellow line for a little bit. So I used that example for a long time, and I just popped in my head. I totally forgot about it till now. So I just thought that was a cool example of having a vision, but you can't be hardcore stuck on it because shit happens, man. Life happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree.
So that was my...
Yeah, I mean, look, being stiff, there's one thing only, and not having I always see the difference between looking and seeing. It's a very different, way of living, or hearing versus listening, right? We tune into things, we lose everything else that is around. So for me, I'm the same. The balance between, left, right, there's a balance in between, in the middle, but we can kind of veer off. We know where our true north is, which is here, but it doesn't mean that we can't look east and west or south sometimes, because along looking in different directions or seeing the different directions, also allows us to fine-tune our true north, right? Or finding some messages or some clues that will get us easier to where we actually are going, right? I mean, if you go through an obstacle, you got to go from here to there, but there's an obstacle. Okay, cool. Well, I could spend 3 months to go over this obstacle, or let me just check if there is kind of like a path or something that actually can get me around, or I might still have to climb a little bit, but it's not as high. You got to be aware, right?
Right,
I
right.
believe in the world we are now, there's so much unawareness, right? It's like, yeah, it's going to come in my laps. Ain't
Yeah,
going to
but
happen.
I think that unawareness is by choice.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen.
well,
Yeah, you go.
no, go ahead.
I love it.
We got a little delay, so we'll pause at each. When you're done, we'll pause, and then we'll keep going. So, go ahead.
You go.
No, but the way I look at it too, I agree with you. Right. So if you go left, you go right, and that might question me going over here. I might find some information that questions my true north, or I might find something that embraces my true north. Right. So you're gonna if you're open to it, if you're not in an echo chamber and you're open to it, then you got to figure that out. But I just think that if it's easy and you know what the finish line is, there's really not a lot of growth there.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
I
totally agree. And I guess, going back to your point about the unawareness, so people choose to not be aware. Well, look, I believe awareness is a gift. It's definitely a gift to have the awareness. Is this working? Is not working? Am I going forward? Am I not going forward? Am I growing? Am I dying? Right? There's two things. There's no other thing. Either you grow or you die. But the unawareness of the choice of people, and trust me, I have been one of those people. Sometimes the awareness brings up your flaws, and people don't want to have flaws, right?
Oh.
They don't want to be told, hey, man, you got to make some adjustments because, if life sucks, it's not because life sucks, but it's because you ain't aware and you are not prepared to make the changes. And, you might not want to do the changes yourself, but if you do not do them, life will make them for you. And usually at that time, it's not going to be that pleasant, right? So I think I agree with you, the choice of not being aware. And for me, that's my hallucination, is that they are not aware because they know that there are some things they need to address, but don't want to. They rather wait for someone else to do it for them, or blame the world and everybody in it for why they are not where they want to be. Right. And trust me, I've been one of those. I mean, when I suffered anxiety and depression and, that got me to attempt suicide and all of that, I was one of those, man, well, why does this, why is this not happening for me? Why aren't they not doing it for me, or whatever the heck it is, I wasn't thinking of what can I do for them.
Right.
Rather than waiting for them to do something for me. Right. Them, life, people, whatever that might be.
Well, the phrase I like to use is point thumbs, not fingers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you take it on? And again, like yourself, I've been there too. I've blamed everything in front of me for what's going on in my life, except for, and you got 100% control. And I could tell you stories where I'm like, this place is burning down and it's not my fault. Well, no, wrong. It is your fault. But yeah, that's great. I love what you just said. I can't agree with you more. And they depend on the secret to bring that back around.
Yeah.
They get in the car, they go to work, and they sit around the water cooler, complain, drive home, complain about the traffic. Right? And
it's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
And looking in the mirror is not easy.
No, that's not easy, man.
I hate that. A lot of times I don't like it.
Man, that room upstairs that I was in before we went on air, that's a room that I do a lot of my work. So part of my work, I'm not talking about, I'm not want to share about business or anything like that. I'm just saying what I do. Part of my evolution, from depression, anxiety, and suicide attempts and all that crap, I tried everything else, the avenues, what society tells you to do, the meds, the psychologists and all that stuff, therapy, whatever, right? And look, trust, I believe there is a place and time and place for them. For me and for a lot of people that I've spoken to in the last 12 years, it ain't working. It hasn't worked. The approach is just different than what I believe works for a person. And we're going back on awareness, right? Bringing the person to the awareness rather than reinforcing the person to just share again the freaking fucking story that they have been telling themselves forever, right? But anyway, it's great because you get paid $300 and you're going to go on forever, for years, right? But one of the things that helped me, the missing link that I had, was shamanism. And I'm not talking about, Reiki or freaking, banging on the drum and whatever. I'm talking about ancient shamanism, Andean shamanism, a 3,500 years old practice in the high Andes, 5,500 meters high, where you really get taken into your fucking soul, where you go and have a look. Who is there? Right? Who am I? Right? Who am I? Not the label that I put on me, but who am I under the label? Who am I? Who is this? Right? And it usually doesn't start with I am, right? But I want to say that the moment you want to change your life, the moment if your life has been challenging, or again mental health or whatever. My wife went through cancer. We lost our 7-figure business 4 years ago, 60 employees gone. Things happen in life, but you can point the finger or you can take the responsibility to whatever is happening. And that will bring you to have the awareness. Without awareness, it's always going to be someone else. And if it is someone else, something else, the genes, the ancestors, the fucking family, whatever it is, and you never take responsibility, you're doomed. It's never going to change because now it's a third party, and a third party you have no control over. So I love the discussion we're going into because it's super deep, and it's something that happens a lot in people in our age. I mean, you look younger than me. I'm 54 this year, but hey, 40 plus, man, that ticking sound of life, that boop, 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 that tells you, hey, dude, you're on the top of the mountains, you're coming down, and they look in themselves in the mirror and say, fuck, I thought I was further ahead by now. Oh, shit, what am I actually doing? What job am I doing? What friends? What life? Right?
Yeah, but to your point there at the end, what I want to say about where you are in life is more sand in the bottom than the top, or is there more sand in the top than the bottom, right? You want to look at that. Yeah. And the other thing is, though, who fucking cares about the age?
Right.
Dude, what difference does it make?
Yeah. But when you're young, you feel that life is never ending, right? So you don't address shit. Often people don't address shit when they're young. They're driven. Let me get the career. Let me get the house, the car, the kids, and whatever, right? It's like, okay, I'm young. I can do whatever. And then they arrive at 40, 50, 55. I got clients that are 60 plus. And they think, well, hang on, what have I actually done? Like, who the fuck am I? And why am I doing what I'm doing? It has stuck for the last 40 years. Why am I still doing this? Mm-hmm. Right? But the people, the family, the judgments, and the fear of not being liked, loved, accepted, blah, blah, blah. And so people get trapped in this system that tells you got to have a house, you got to have a mortgage, you got to pay it off, you got to put your money in the bank. So the bank takes your money, or the inflation takes your money, or whatever it all is. But the money you put in today, in a couple of years from now, it's not the same money because the value went down. So we grow up with so many beliefs that actually, or blueprints, I should say, that are actually not ours. And I believe that when, my hallucination is that when you're young, you're not thinking too much about it. I hope that the youth that now has access to a lot of things, podcasts like yours, one of them, that gets them to think. I think people don't think, right? Our ancestors, our fathers, grandfathers, they used to think, come together, think, talk, think. We don't do that no more. Or people don't do that no more, right?
No.
They get into this blueprint, they get into this thing, and they get, they let themselves be thought by something else,
Well, the couple things on that I think about as well, going along the same subject. When you said a blueprint, okay, so my grandfather so we'll bring it a little closer. When I grew up, the attitude was you got a job and you stuck at that job for 20, 30, 40 years. You retired with a pension and you got a pension and all was good. And this, you move on and you got a house and 2.5 kids in the garage and the cars and all that, right?
Yeah.
So between that and information wasn't obviously nowhere near accessible as it is now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we live a lot longer than we did back then.
Right.
Even 50 years ago. My grandfather, they didn't live till they're 90.
Yeah.
And when I say live, I mean, you look like a healthy guy. I plan on staying as healthy as possible. So I'm hoping when I'm 80, 85, like we went to a friend's birthday party. She's 83 and she looks amazing. She's running around. It's like, holy shit, you're 83, right? So between the information flying around, you living longer, that attitude of house, car, job, that just doesn't fit anymore.
No.
And then people shit on millennials like, no, you need to go get a job. Okay, so you're going to pay me $16,000 a year to run around as an intern when I can make 40 grand doing TikToks?
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, though, look at how much work that they put into these things. So I've talked to people that are pretty successful. When I'm talking they make a lot more money than I do, and they make TikTok videos. It's a lot of that's a lot of fucking work.
Oh,
do you know how much work? Dude, that's like almost all the time.
Oh, man.
They're trying to create content. Then they got to actually build the content. Then they got to curate the content. It's a lot of work, dude.
Absolutely.
But a guy that is 50 years old, around us, sometimes if you're not open to have that conversation, you're like, oh, you're lazy. No, they're not. It's just different. Imagine when my grandfather and my dad was young, my grandfather probably looked at my dad being like, your generation ain't worth the shit. You're lazy. Right? Every generation has a quote unquote millennial generation. Mm-hmm. I mean, your parents or your grandparents, they probably look at you when you were little and like, come on, man, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this because that's, it's generational stuff. Yeah. And I just think that with the help of the internet and the spread of information, it can be positive and negative, obviously. But with all that, things are different. That's all. It's just a different type of work. Do I agree with it? Me personally, no. I like to get my hands dirty and drive a truck and do blue collar work. And then I benefit from technology, get to meet people like you all the time and have a good time. So I try to combine the both. And, I have a 2-year-old son, and I want to teach him the same way, work ethic. As long as you're what's the word I'm looking for? Contributing to society.
Yeah, you're honest.
Right? You're creating income, you're creating a job, or you're creating some kind of service and somebody's paying you for it. Either you're an entrepreneur working for a company and you come home and you have a wife and 2 kids and you go to 17 football games every year and your wife has her thing and you guys are happy. Well, isn't that successful?
Oh, man, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So,
absolutely.
That's just my little rant about.
No, absolutely, brother. I mean, listen, 50% of all millionaires live paycheck to paycheck.
No shit.
50% of millionaires live paycheck to paycheck and will never be able to retire. That's a fact. That's not me making shit up. Look it up. 50%. That's crazy.
That's
right?
really, that's a crazy fact to know.
That's crazy. Look it up, and it's mind blowing. But you're right. Times are different. Do I agree with how times are in all its spectrum? I'll tell you one thing. It's just because you talked about TikTok and how people, which is a hard job, by the way. Absolutely, I agree, because I do all of my stuff, and I was away for 8 months out of everything. Just started this week again, so I know how much work it goes in. Sorry, say again.
Welcome back.
Yeah. I honestly stayed away because last year was a tough year for us as a family, but on a personal level, because I was given away when I was little. I was 6 months old when my parents gave me away, and so this year or last year, I connected with my mother. My dad passed away in 2007. I connected with my mom in 2015, and we kind of like reconnected and healed, and had a lot of discussions, and came back together. For me, it was important to do because the lack of relationship that I had with my mother affected my marriage. So if I wanted to be the husband that my wife deserved, I needed to fix my relationship with my mother. When I say fix my relationship with my mother, and someone else might also have a situation like that, and they think, oh, fuck that, no way. I'm not saying that you got to go back and then you're going to be, mother's son. If that dynamic doesn't happen, that's okay. It is what it is. But you got to come clean. Because if you do not come clean, you will have that resentment, that thing that is going on within you, that anger and so on. And even you might not put it over 100% to your wife, your girlfriend or whatever, some of that will go through because it's still Absolutely. A woman and you have a wiring and something that will hold you back from being yourself. And so for me, it was important. And we connected. My mom is in Italy. I'm now in Australia. And we spent 6 months together and really sorted everything out. So I thought. And because we are far away, we would communicate over Skype. Then the China virus happened, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So she would tell me she was lonely and alone. My mom is 90 years old this year. And so last year, Grace and I, my wife, decided to perhaps we'll close everything down here, or actually we got a friend to mind the house, and said, let's go back to Italy. Let's hang out with my mom for a little while. Let's look for a bigger house so she can move in with us and then live happily ever after. And, it's going to be amazing. What happened is when we moved there, all of a sudden, it's not Skype anymore. All of a sudden, we're living together every day, 70 square meter home, which is tiny, right? And all of a sudden, my mother's true nature came out, right? And that was a huge wake-up call for me. My mom is a narcissist, is a controlling, is very manipulative. It's unbelievable. The things she did is absolutely unbelievable. I'm 54 and I have gone through quite a bit in my life, but last year literally got me to my knees. Because I literally relived my childhood, growing up with foster parents and all of that stuff, sexual abuse and all of that. And I kind of relived her nature of when I was little. If she was getting what she wanted, she was nice. And if she didn't, she would just not come and visit me. Right. And the same thing happened last year. Only now I'm 54. Now I can see the full story. So why did I go back, or why did I back off from social media? Because I believe, and that's something I learned along the way from a guy that I met in the jungle in Peru. He told me one day, he asked me about if I knew what the word guru means. Guru, do you know, Rodolfo, what that means? Well, and I honestly said, what guru means? That Indian spiritual leader with the long beard, blah, blah, blah. He says, no, guru means man of weight. Man of weight, right? And what he meant is when we speak, words have weight, okay? So I'm always quite mindful of what I say because, again, if we are out, we got a show, we are online, blah, blah, blah. What we say matters. Mm-hmm. And so for me, when I went through this situation with my mother, I knew that my story was changing. And so the message that I was sharing usually wasn't congruent to my change. Now, my message didn't radically change, but yet it was still not the message that I had to grow myself into now. And so I stayed away from May, June last year to Monday, right? And I just had to find put the pieces back together for myself and say, okay, well, I believe that. Again, awareness, right? Okay,
Right.
I believe that. Now, that is not true. Now I have two choices. I can still make that to believe to be true and just suffer for the rest of my life because it's a lie. And even though the world might not know, I do. Or I have to have the courage and embrace the change that is coming. And when I'm ready and everything is sunk in, it's like, the muddy water. You got to wait until that mud sets. Now I'm ready to go out again and share. Again, it's not a radically new message, but it's still a little different nonetheless. And so what I wanted to, man, I went on a tangent, but about the TikTok part that I was saying, and that's why I shared this story, is because, yes, they put in a lot of work. There's no fucking doubt because it takes ages to fucking edit a video and the fucking caption, fucking hell, right? But look what's happening out there, right? Everything is so perfectly curated. You know what I like, what I love the most, what you said just before we started, before you pressed the red button to go on live and to record this, you said, nothing will be edited. What you say will be.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I believe the world today needs more of that rather than the perfectly curated videos that are perfect to the point and makes you believe that there is something wrong with you or that you're broken in some ways because your body does not look like that, your car doesn't look like that, your freaking holiday doesn't look like that, your bag doesn't look like that, and etc. etc. So
yeah, but what you're saying though is when all that stuff looks like that, the fucking problem with that is it's all fake anyway.
It's all fucking fake, right? And so what you're doing right now is brilliant because you know what? I'm a swearer as well. Like this is
my man,
right? Sorry, you don't like it, scroll. Don't worry about it, right? But this is life. So why would you or me be just different just because, okay, let's now be polite. Let's now be aware of people and this and that. Let's not offend everybody. Hey, if you're offended, that's not the show for you. So we wish you well and carry on. You know what I mean? I exactly the same as you.
Yep. There's a radio dial and there's an off button. Change the station or turn it off.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I'm a big believer, and the way I was brought up with swear words, they were used as a comma, right?
Yeah.
but it's your tone. Yeah. It's the tone that you use, right? So a fun story, and people have heard this before, and for the new listeners, you'll get a kick out of this. I just started dating my wife, and we go to Colorado, and she's going to meet my parents for the first time. And my mom, she passed away years ago, and she's just old school. She just tells you the way it is. When I was between jobs, I had a job, right? I was between the jobs. I was going to work, but I had some time between them. This is her gangster shit. I like playing poker, and I go play poker, and I do well, and I have a good time. And I text her. I said, hey, she's texted me about something, and I text her back, and I said, yeah, doing well, you know. Going to go chase Val around. Val's my wife. Going to go chase Val around. Just did great in a poker game. And she's like, that's great. Now go get a fucking job. Dude, I got a job. She's like, well, go to work then, you know. But anyway, so we take, you know, we go to Colorado and we go to my niece is getting married, so we go to the dinner beforehand, that night before the wedding. So we come trotting in. I'm all happy. I'm proud. I want to, you know, introduce my girlfriend to my mom, and so we walk over, and I said, hey, Mom. And she said something to me, and I wish I remember what she said to me. And I go, oh, shit, go fuck yourself. And my wife was like, my wife now, she was like shocked. And then my mom goes, oh, my God, it's so very nice to meet you. Does my son please you? Like just like casual conversation, just like right off the bat. She's like, nice to meet you. Yes, of course. So, but the thing is, though, I've been swearing for my whole life, and we were just taught. And my mom never said, "This is how you say it. If you want to say it this way, this is how you do it." She never said that. We just kind of absorbed it through osmosis almost, right?
Yeah.
You watch what she said, you watch what she did. And then once in a while she's like, that's not, no. You don't talk that way. And you're like, you're 14 years old and you're dropping F-bombs. And she's like, whoa. Right. But the thing is though, it's a way to communicate. Sure.
Yeah,
sure. Is there times that I can shut it down or not use it as much?
Yeah.
Is it a filler word? Some people think so, but that's me though. I've tried to, in some of my older episodes, I tried to cut swearing down to like next to nothing, and I just wasn't being authentic.
Yeah.
I go, I can't. I just got to be me, and if that's cool, the universe will come to me. That's it. 100%. I'm not gonna. Yeah. So that's my fun story about cussing with.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely. I mean, dude, I believe the same thing. And actually, it's funny because I'm one of Tony Robbins' leadership coaches, and when he speaks to people, he fucking swears like man. He's like straight out. Does not give two shits, and he actually says it. If you're offended by it, maybe this is not the program for you. It's just as simple as that. And it's not like, okay, let me just swear so I'm like super cool or whatever, anything like that. Right. But this is life. This is how we communicate, right? Mm-hmm. If you start, of course, there's people that don't swear, like my wife's sister. You don't hear ever a swear word, right? But so there are people like that.
Hey, bring her around me. Bring her around. Right? Bring her around me. She'll probably start swearing.
Don't worry, she's going enough from me and my wife. My wife sometimes drops an F-bomb. I'm like, Christ. Okay.
So, yeah, I know exactly. Well, when you drop a bomb like that, and then your 2-year-old like, son, and then your 2-year-old son repeats it back to you, you're like, oh, damn it! I got to stop doing that.
You gotta be mindful, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, I got a couple of questions to clarify because we zoomed over a couple things, and I know people are wondering. Well, I'm wondering, so I can't be the only one. Mm-hmm. When you say definition of a guru, a man of weight, like heavy weight, like WEI, is it WEI?
Yeah, weight.
WIE, weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not an overweight person, but a person that has weight with his words.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And then, so you were given up at 6 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did they like drop you off at the fire department, or did they?
No, they gave me to foster parents. So they looked for families that. So my parents wanted to work, but anyway, that's funny as well because when I tell this story, I've told this story so many times, right? And I always say my parents wanted to work, and they came from. So that's my story before, okay. My parents wanted to work, came from poverty after the war, migrated to Switzerland from Italy, and they got a job. They were starting to make a little bit of money. All of a sudden, I was born 1969, and in the middle of they rebuild and everything, so they had to make a choice, and that choice was a little bit of a hard one to do because. Okay, what do we do? Do we cut back on work? You stay home, you mind the son, or do we give him somewhere so we can double down on work and then eventually retire back to Italy and blah blah blah? That was the story that I believed for the last 8 years after reconnecting with my mother was this story. Okay, because after our chat. That is the story I understood, and that was explained to me. Before that, it was, well, my mother and my parents didn't love me and whatever, which obviously caused a lot of insecurities, people pleasing, fucking whatever you call it. It was present. Anxiety, depression, anger, fucking prison time, and everything. Failed first marriage, everything, right? But now the story changed. Like, that's why I said I was away from social media for so long, away from podcasting, away from everything. Now, the real story is my mother didn't want me because I disrupted her plan of, my mother was always a princess when she was younger. Her parents called her a princess. She was pretty, she was always well seen. And so for her, that was, that egoic self of her, of being in the limelight, of being here, this, that, the other, of being seen, was very important to my mother. She grew up in the wartime. She was 7 when the Second World War was. The family wasn't poor, was okay, wasn't rich, but was okay. So she had everything she needed. And she married my father. My father wasn't as financially well settled as her family. So he, went to scavenge for work or whatever. And they had it tough. So my mom didn't have a lot of money when they got married. And because she didn't have a lot of money, she couldn't have the same life as she had pre-marriage. And so missed out on a lot of friendships, missed out on being invited to places because she couldn't reciprocate, blah, 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 list goes on. And for her, that was a huge trauma. It's like, no fucking way, can't happen. I need to be in the front. So when then she got to money, after, moving from Italy to Switzerland, money coming in, now I'm around. Now I'm the one that takes the limelight away again. She didn't want that. So the decision was, you know what? Let's double down on work. Yes. Let's give him away. Okay. So that we then can do whatever the fuck we want. Places we can, holiday, you can buy the cars and whatever. So that is actually the real story, which is quite sad because I liked the story before. That kind of like a decision out of, of a bigger picture that perhaps didn't happen. But yeah, I can live with that better. I mean, I can live with this as well because I grew above it to have a better view and understand who I am anyway. So that does not define me anymore. I used to. But that's the reality. My father, which I never really connected with, and he died before my healing process and growth process happened. So we never really had an opportunity to talk. But I understood from what I experienced from my mother, see awareness again, which is a great topic for this whole podcast. It's been about awareness. Mm-hmm. The awareness of seeing who my mother really was or is gave me to understand who my father really was. See? And that is a blessing. Because even though I couldn't do it on a personal level, now understanding who my mother was or is or was in the past with my father, I guess, I understand why my father was the way he was. My father was very loving, very caring, honest, hardworking, but he was very jealous and possessive. So back then I was like, why is he that? Today I understand. My mother was, I want to believe nothing, she didn't do anything, outside of the marriage and all of that. I don't believe that. But I do see her ways, which then for a man that is perhaps a little insecure in itself or whatever it all might be, got him to be the way he was. Now, I'm not condoning that, but I can see the reason for it. Yeah,
no, I could definitely understand why he would go in that direction or have that attitude. Right. So something popped into my mind. So here you are, 6 months old. Obviously, you don't remember that, right? And no,
I don't remember that. No, not at that age. A little older, yes.
So as you're going through the foster system, now where was that? Was that in Sweden or was that in Italy?
No, it was in Switzerland.
Switzerland. Okay.
Yes. It wasn't a foster system as such. It was, what they did is, and I don't know how the process was, if it was word to mouth or if it was on a paper. So what they did is they were looking for a family that had the time to look after me for 6.5 days of the week. So they would bring me there at 6 p.m. on a Sunday, pick me up on a Saturday at 11 every second week. So that was how it was. And then after some time, that foster family didn't have the time or whatever, so they would then take me back home, look for another family. So I grew up with 3 different families plus an auntie and an uncle. So 4 different families until 11
Oh,
years old.
so until what, 11 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, so that quote unquote foster system is completely different than what's in the US then.
Yeah, I guess foster system, maybe it's the wrong word I'm using. I'm not sure. I mean, my English gets me to, I chosen this type of wording. I guess the real foster system is the mother doesn't want you, so off you go, and they grab you. You go through an adoption and whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like that. So they didn't really they didn't abandon. Like they gave me away. They never want to see me. They gave me away thinking, well, one day when we are ready, and that was 11 years later, we want him back. You know what I mean?
Now that's actually pretty interesting. No, well,
Yeah.
no, it's interesting to
Right.
see a system like that, right? So
Well, it's not a system. It was kind of privately made. Yeah.
okay, but all right, okay.
Yeah.
So like here in the United States, you get, like you said, you get put in the system, and you never
Same.
basically you never see your parents again.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is every 2 weeks you would see your parents for what? Half a day?
About a day. So they would pick me up on a Saturday at around 11:30, and bring me back the day after at 6 p.m.
Now,
So I would be a day in a couple of hours like that every 2
is
weeks.
that kind of a mind fuck?
Oh, dude. I had no clue who my mother was. So I would come home and I would tell my mother, my real mother, hey, I want to go back to my mom. And she would say, no, I'm your mom. I'm like, no, but I'm living over there. How can you be my mom? And whatever. So it was a lot of hate fucks, a lot of fear, because my mom, because obviously you're a little boy, right? And
Right.
you are scared, right? And my mom would always say, don't cry, because if you cry, they will give you away too, and then there's nobody looking after you. And so
Holy-
for me, until 41 years old, I have never shed a tear. Right? And yeah, it's quite fucked up.
Damn, dude. Well, just so until you were 11 years old, you went from family. You were in that. God, I don't want to use system because, like you said, it's a privately thing. So
It was, yeah.
that was your situation until you were 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're with these other families, did some of them, were they mean about it and be like, your mom doesn't want you, so you're with us? Did it, or were they genuinely nice?
What I remember, they were quite nice, right? They were nice people. The kids were not nice, because obviously you come into a family where they got other kids, and now you're a little boy with another boy, and now you're you got nothing, right? And there's toys. Obviously, the boy is going to be fucking who the fuck are you? Where's the my toy? So a lot of that was going on, right? Because the family were nice, but from what I remember is the kids were some of them were, they would kick me in the shins or hit me or whatever, and so on. But I think that the more toughest time was with my auntie and uncle, my mom's brother and his wife, from 7 to 11. I think that was the toughest time, because my uncle was very, no emotions whatsoever. And yeah, so he was, people always thought it was crazy. That's one thing, you're looking back at life, right? And, I was very passionate, very, very, very wild, very, very active. I guess my imagination had to flourish because, I remember myself, playing soccer by myself and whatever, just hitting the ball, a wall will be this player and another thing will be that player. So it was a fantasy world because, I'm alone all the fucking time and nobody wants me really, in a way. And I think that's the thing that I remember the most. And so people would always, the people I was with, they would tell them, especially my uncle and auntie, they would tell my mom that something was wrong with me. So they would send me to psychiatrists, put all these wires in my head and, and check out what the fuck is going on with me. All it was a boy that was fucking lost. He didn't know where he belonged, and tried to make a sense of living, which caused a lot of trauma, because eventually I came home, like I said, at 11, and now I'm living with my family, a family that sees me as, they have no fucking clue who I am, but they want me to be like some of the kids of their friends, right? Because they obviously hanging out with families. Those families got kids. Some of those kids might have been good at school, might have had good manners, whatever. And so now I'm coming home, and now they want me to be like those people that have been taught and all of that. So for me, it was a big thing. And so, I wasn't allowed to have people at home, friends, school friends, anything like that. And so for me, this playing by myself thing going on for many years after that, so much so that my father was a construction worker, and he used to own, or not own, he used to lease a place where they had different bedrooms for people who would migrate from their country and go there and leave, and so they had rooms, so he would look after those. And so when my father used to come home, he always had a truckload of people coming out, and they used to always be around, I don't know, I would say 25, 45, and they would always see me there with a ball or something like that. And sometimes they would just spend some time with me, and maybe to de-stress after a work day, or perhaps they felt sorry because I was always alone. And man, the something that happened at that time, that I was so craving some people to just be around me.
Sure, I can see that.
Right, that if I had to go to the toilet, then that's no bullshit. If I had to go to the toilet in the time that someone was playing with me, I would not go. I would just do it on me, and just to stay there, because my fear was, if I go away, come back, they'd be gone, right? And then fuck, I'm alone again. So, and then after that, obviously I know that was wrong. So I got to go home and hide and wash myself and wash the clothes, and a lot of trauma, right? And my journey really to where I am today, obviously it's a 54-year-old journey, and I'm blessed for every single moment, because if I had the parents I wanted, I wouldn't be the man I am. And so in a way, I'm thankful for that, and for all of the experiences and situations that I went through. Yet, my journey to this has been 13 years long, because at 41, I broke. I just couldn't hold anymore. Right. And as a man, as well as I do, right? We're taught, boys don't cry and fucking hold it up, keep it together. Don't say nothing. Don't express yourself. Be fucking tough. All this bullshit.
Dude, I did
it. And instead, you're just imploding in that, right? Because we fucking bleed and cry like everything else. And so my healing began when I allowed myself to actually forgive myself for having carried all this shit for so long.
Oh, Jesus, dude. The thing is, I did a whole podcast episode, and it's called What a Man Does. Because when I was raised, I'd say, hey, what do we do? What do we do that for? Because that's what a man does. Yeah. That's what a man does, right? Yeah. But then you are a perfect example of a research paper that I did a long time ago. Wow. And it's like, what makes a person, okay, we'll just say, what makes a man what he is today? Mm. And I interviewed people, and it was, do you think the way you were raised or the experiences that you had, right? So using you as an example, the way you were raised, going back and forth from home to home, the experiences that you have had, what you just said, that's what makes you the man you are today. So it's a combination of both, because now the way you were raised, I believe, the way you were raised and taught is how you handle that experience. That teaches you something else, and then you obviously that goes on and on and on and on, right? but that just popped in my mind. I mean, what an incredible, that's crazy, dude, that you were craving that kind of attention.
Oh man.
I can understand it. Like I can feel, I don't have an idea because I have nothing to compare that to, but I can feel the energy coming from you. And it's like, I crave that. I crave that.
Yeah, man.
So much that I would piss myself.
Shit myself in the pants. I was 14 years old. I was less pissing, but shitting in my pants. Sometimes I had to go so bad that I'll go for the ball and I will pretend I got to go down and fix my shoelaces and said I'm having I gotta go. But for me, that was less traumatic than actually leaving, coming back to nothing. Right.
Oh, because you were afraid. You were afraid if you went to the bathroom, you come back and that person be gone, like you said.
Yeah.
And then now you're alone again. God damn, dude, that's incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
Damn.
And then what happened? From there, the people pleasing comes in. Why do people please? Right? People pleasing is not like it's an invisible transaction that you do with yourself that actually it's going to hurt you more and more every time you do it. The transaction is, I'm going to pretend to be a good person. I'm going to say yes to everything because I crave the attention so much, the love that I missed out on, the attention, am I good enough? Am I lovable? Right? And so I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I'm not going to take care of myself because usually those people are broken people. And then there's a great book called The True Believer by Eric Hoffer, and I recommend everybody to read it. There's a passage here that says the burning conviction that we have a holy duty towards others is often a way of attaching our drowning selves to a passing raft. What looks like giving a hand is often a holding on for dear life. Because we know how much pain feels like, right? We know it, and so we don't worry about us, because again, awareness, right? We don't want to have that awareness. It's like, fuck, that's I got to do something, but I can't because I'm afraid. And also, I know what I'm getting now. It's like when I was depressed and anxious, I knew for me. And look, someone is going to get pissed off. Okay. Depression and anxiety is an addiction. It's a fucking addiction because it's a vehicle to something. I'm not taking away the trauma that someone is going through, because I have gone through fucking shitload of it. But it becomes because we have to address our lives, but we don't, because we are afraid. We don't know what's on the other side. So we don't like what it is, but we'd rather hold on to that because we don't know what's next.
Sure, I can see that.
We enter a trade, right? We enter a trade. What do I do? Oh, I'm always anxious. I'm always sick. What am I getting? I always tell my clients, people that work with me, I say, be honest for once in your fucking life. What are you getting out of being anxious? Because you don't like it, right? It's attention, right? It's attention. You tell to someone, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, and what are people going to do?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh,
right?
No.
And so that is the same thing they probably did when they were little. Me, for example. I wasn't sick or I wasn't depressed as such, but there was an attention seeking in a way. For me, it was doing radical shit, right? But when I was depressed and anxious towards the end, before my suicide attempt, I knew exactly what I was getting. Yeah, right? My wife would call me. How are you doing? Oh, I just had a panic attack. Come home. Did you eat? No, I didn't eat yet. Well, come home. Do you got to do to that meeting? Can't you send your manager? Yeah, I know I should, right? But I don't. It's attention, man. It's attention. You know, it sucked, but it's attention. And so I would come home. My wife would prepare food for me. Do you want a tea? Just go to rest a little bit, blah, 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 whatever. What am I getting? And so somehow this thing that we're going through is fulfilling our human needs. Might that be for certainty or significance or connection? Because love is out the window. Why is love out the window in so many homes? So many people are married. There's no intimacy in the house. Why?
No.
Because they choose connection over love. Because somewhere along the way through love, they got hurt. And so they're like, this love thing sucks and it's painful. So let me just connect with people. They're going to love their kids or their cat or their fucking dog, but they ain't not going to love their fucking wife or husband, because that is, if I pull myself out there, it's going to be a little bit critical if something goes wrong. So we got all this wiring, right?
Right.
And so we get to a point where, again, it's amazing, the topic of this podcast, which is always awareness. It's that moment where we look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what? Is this really the best I can do? What is really going on with my life?
Oh, dude.
What is really going on? Be honest for once in your fucking life and just say, you know what? I think this sucks. Okay, my career sucks. Cool. This sucks. Maybe the friends I am with sucks. Maybe I look way too much news. Maybe I look way too much bullshit ass podcasts or TikToks or whatever the fuck it is, things that just take me away from thinking by myself. Maybe I haven't read a book that perhaps would ignite some self-thought. Maybe I need some good friends around me that call my shit and say, you know what, I love you, dude, but I can see you're just playing small.
Right, right. No. Now the way
moment of embracing.
Oh, 100%. So back it up. When you first said that it's an addiction, one, I've never heard it expressed that way. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's a first for me. So then, of course, my mind jumps a little bit around. And I listen to you and I'm like, okay, I can totally see how you label it an addiction, right? I agree with you at this point. Mm-hmm. And I am, I've been sober over 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And toward the end of your conversation, toward the end of you talking, that's exactly what I had to do to stop drinking. It was look in the mirror and go, this is what you have. And we talked about quotes before, and the quote that I'd like is, addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Mm-hmm. And recovery is giving up one thing for everything. Right? So I felt that I was going to lose everything. And well, if I give up this one thing, I get to keep everything. Mm. And that's kind of what drove me. But what you were just talking about with that is awareness. Dude, fuck it, dude. It just comes down to awareness. Yeah. I mean, we could sit here and spin the bottle and kick the dead horse and come up with any phrase that you can imagine. But it just comes down to, and I'll boost it up a little bit, self-awareness.
Yeah, 100%. You know if things are right or wrong. I always say, when you go to the toilet, when you go to the toilet, when you sit on your toilet, there's nobody there. I always tell people, ask people, who are you when nobody's fucking watching?
All right, not to
on the toilet, the door is closed, there's nobody there. There's no fucking likes, no hearts, no bullshit, no cameras, no nothing, no world. There's only you and yourself. Who are you then?
So,
right?
I use that same example, but I say the shower because I feel that you're more
same thing, right?
Right, but I feel that you're more vulnerable in the shower because you're naked.
Naked, right? You're dead, not by yourself. Who am I now?
And you can't have your phone in the shower on the toilet. Right. You can sit and look at your phone, right? So now the only person that you're fucking dealing with in the shower.
Yeah, dude.
Is
when
the one in your head.
Your teeth and you're looking in that mirror, do you see someone, or is it just a reflection? Do you see someone in there?
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Do you see someone there, or is just nothing? It's just blur.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, brother.
Yep.
And I love, be raw. That's why I clicked on your name. Be raw.
Well, that's why.
Be raw. This is me. Yeah, this is.
Oh
me.
No, and I 100. Yeah, right? And that's what I'm looking for. Now, to give you a little backstory, I started this podcast, and it was called Walt's Kitchen Table. Because where I got the idea was me growing up. I mean, the kitchen was. I mean, if I came over to your house right now, where are we going to sit? We're going to sit at the kitchen table and we're going to have tea, coffee, whatever. And we're going to sit here and basically have the same conversation we're having now. Right? So that was the theory behind Walt's Kitchen Table. And then about 80 episodes in, what was starting to happen, I clicked the end record and people are like, oh man, I want to tell you this story. And they would tell me this fucked up story. And I'm like, why didn't you bring that up? Yeah, and they're like, well, we didn't think that your platform was right for that kind of story. And I'm like, I got to come up with something. And then I think you'll like this. Instead of the raw, right? It's be raw because it's
raw. Yeah.
You gotta take action.
It is like that, Let me ask you a question. How'd you get to your addiction?
How'd I get what through it?
No. Why did you start and why did you develop an addiction?
It was a coping mechanism.
Right.
I was completely insecure. Right. And then and it was drinking, Right. It was all alcoholic. I was a drug user and drinker for a long time. And then the lifestyle I was living, that's what you did. You did drugs and you drank. And then when I met my wife, I knew that she wasn't going to put up with it. And we had this connection from day one that just, even to this day, we hold hands and I feel electricity, and I was to the point that I couldn't have just one. So if you and I were going to meet for a business meeting, I would make sure that it was at a place that I could get a beer. Yeah. Then if we were meeting at 6 p.m., I would get there at 5 p.m. and be pretty fucked up by the time you got there. Mm-hmm. And then I would stay there even later, right? So I came home one night, piled in the bed, and my wife asked me how many drinks I had, and I couldn't remember. And I couldn't remember driving home. And dude, I could tell you unlimited, numerous stories about me driving myself home and not thinking about it. Like one time I woke up in front of my apartment building in my truck, bumped up against the curb with it still in drive, and I'm passed out against the driver's side window, and I drove home. And I don't remember driving home, and it was just getting to the point. So I said, fuck it. And I quit cold turkey on a Saturday.
Because of your wife? Because your wife was
no, it was
and herring and all of that.
She was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But I knew that I would lose everything if I kept drinking. Right. And to me, I did the ROI on both. And what I choose, I felt that there was more ROI. Right.
Yeah.
And it was during the holidays, right? It was in November. So now I'm fucking stressed out. I'm going to all these Christmas parties for my business. And I'm, hey, and they know me. Everybody knew that I was fucking, I'd put them down with you. So I met some friends the following weekend. I decided on a Saturday or Sunday morning, basically, that I wasn't drinking. So I get through the week. And I go out Saturday with some friends and I show up at the bar and they go, well, you're not drinking? Dude, my first words out of my mouth, I didn't even think about it. I go, no, not today. And I've been using that phrase ever since. Not today. Nope, not today. Not today. I don't give a fuck about what's going to go on 7 days from now. No, not today. That's all I care about right now. Not today. And I've moved that phrase into a lot of things in my life, and I've also added it to the positive things in my life, like the gym. Obviously, there's a lot more days that I don't feel like going than I do feel like going, right? So the days that I don't feel like going, it's just today. Just go right now. Just go right now. That's all, right? And I've never met a motherfucker leaving the gym saying, "Wish I didn't do that." So you get in there and you do it and you feel good, right? So, but yeah, that's my little story about, my addiction and the anonymous thing. And, we hit on this a little bit earlier in the show, the Alcoholics Anonymous. Fuck that, dude. Tell the world, dude. Tell them, man, I did it.
Yeah.
You need something, I'll help you out. No, it's not anonymous. Yeah. I'm a drunk. I was an alcoholic.
They just give them another identity. Now they are a fucking AA member and they are, ex-addict or alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic, right?
It's just
I'm
a fucking...
for 40 days. Bullshit.
Yeah. And it's just it's an attention getter. I like that.
It's label, dude.
That's it. And it's an attention. It's something to get your attention, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
And I talk about my sobriety is if I tell my story 100,000 times and one person gets sober, worth it.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I throw it out there and be like, hey man, don't be fucking. And my message too with sobriety, do not try to fucking do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work, man. Don't white knuckle it, dude. Don't white knuckle it. There's plenty of people out there that'll help you out, man. You just got to find the one that clicks with you, I
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do shit by yourself. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, I agree, man. I agree. The reason why I asked you why and how you got off it is because, and I'm not sure, you probably have seen that research that they did with the rats. They got a bunch of rats and they put them in this box and they put water in there. And they put water and they put water with cocaine. And so the rats will go to the water and they will go to the cocaine and eventually they would just go to the cocaine every so often, But yet they then took the same rats out of that enclosure, put them into another enclosure that was bigger and had toys in there and different things, different rats. They had like little tunnels that they could go under, the little playful things, whatever. Still water, still cocaine. Never touch the cocaine.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they have what they need from the environment. Now they have from what they need within this thing. So for you, of course, you took a decision and you had to weigh up things. But you said one of the things you said was, I met my wife and we still today hold hands and all of that stuff, right? So that is now what was perhaps missing in somewhere, it came into your life. So now that bottle doesn't fill that void anymore.
Yeah, I can see that.
With anxiety, depression, and the same thing, right? The moment that person finds something that is valuable and that is a new social structure, better people, they do what they love doing rather than what they have to do. They can express themselves. They can do what they're passionate about and so on and so forth. They're going to be off that medication right away. 100%. That is a fact. Because you go.
Well, the thing is, though, if I can get that naturally and what my DNA craves, not artificial through a drug. Of course, that's
and the drug is actually a fraud because the drug is actually not. You know how the antidepressants were created? You know the story?
Oh no, I don't know. I thought you like how they work with your chemicals. I get that part. No, I don't know with the creation.
So there used to be a diuretic or something like that, but because a lot of our depression and anxiety comes from our gut because the gut releases more serotonin than the brain does, right? So when the gut is out of whack, emotions, this, that, the other, the gut goes out of whack. You don't go to the toilet regularly and all that. So your gut gets out of whack. This, and obviously life and whatever isn't the way it should be. You develop, anxiety, depression, whatever. Depression is, related to something that perhaps happened, and anxiety is, the fear of the future, whatever. But when they used to give these people these tablets for regulated in God, whatever, those people used to feel really, really good. They're like, man, I feel amazing. So they made some research about it, And they now using that same drug for antidepressants. Now, listen to this. This is fact. I'm not bullshitting you. Did you know that antidepressants or anti-anxiety do not actually level up your serotonin? They don't actually increase your serotonin level. They only balance the serotonin levels that you got. That's fucking crazy, because why are people feeling great the first 2, 3, 4 weeks and then they need more, or they need to change medication? Because the first thing is like what the people did with, the gut situation. They felt really good, and then all of a sudden that was gone. So someone who is anxious, the reason why I'm talking to you about this is because I was an antidepressant and fucking anxiety, whatever. And the first couple of weeks are okay-ish. The problem is not gone. You are still on a low level of serotonin because your brain and your gut ain't secreting anything.
Right.
But your medication now caps it, shuts off all the firing mechanism, and just balance your serotonin level. That's why anybody that you ask that is on any medication like that, very, very, very rarely do they feel okay. And very rarely do they ever overcome depression and anxiety, because they do not go into the issue. And also this medication is just now turns you into a zombie, into a thing that doesn't feel anything. It's just, you're just blanked out.
That's where I was going to.
Crazy what they're doing, right?
Yeah, that's where I was going, because when I talk to people about that one of the first things, they compare it to, you just go numb. You just walk around like a zombie.
No, brother. Dude.
Oh, that's no way to live. Dude, that's no way to live. That's no way to live.
Scary, man. I remember one time, that was around 2010, we went to a camping ground, which was absolutely beautiful, middle of fucking nowhere, birds everywhere, kangaroos, and it was beautiful, beautiful place, right? And I remember Grace, my wife, brought some seeds to feed the birds. It was like, cockatoos and all these beautiful birds. And they would literally come onto your hand and eat off your hand. There was kangaroos all around you and shit. And I'm looking at all of this. I felt nothing, brother. And I remember telling Grace, I said, I do not feel nothing. Zero. But like literally like honestly, like you're just you're just breathing and just going through the motions.
See,
fucking terrifying, brother.
See, terrifying. And for you to be able to recognize that, right?
Brother.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing that never left me was awareness. What I didn't have was the balls to do something about it, because that scared me.
Yep.
See?
Yep. And
but then I'm facing a rope and I'm approaching the rope and I'm turning around and I'm farewelling my wife. I'm done. I'm checking out. I'm done. Death is less painful than living. I'm out of this. And I turn around and there was a window just behind me in the garage. And I turn around to farewell my wife. It was a Thursday night. And the moment I turned around, she just burst out of this fucking hysterical laughing. That she was watching a show or something on TV, and she really like jolted me, she just burst out of this laugh, like fucking losing her shit, right? And I remember this voice popped up, and I like literally, man, I'll probably be, okay, now you got feet, maybe 15 feet away is my rope with my stool and everything is ready to go. And as I'm looking at that, all of a sudden this voice just popped up in my head and said, there has to be more to life than misery.
Good for you, dude. That is fucking crazy.
It has to be more to life than misery? Fuck, what is that? I fucking want to know. And that was the moment I aborted the whole thing, and I went out and went to my wife and told her what was happening. And from there was the journey to here, talking with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, to anyone listening here, whatever is going on with your life, and I know sometimes life can be tough and whatever situations that we don't choose. And sometimes we do choose them as well. But, our past definitely does not define our future if you don't let it.
Oh my God, dude. I couldn't have said it better.
If you do not let it.
But the thing is, though, it took me a very long time to figure that out.
Oh, brother.
To truly know what that means.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But no, go ahead.
See, that is a funny thing too, right? Because we always say that. It took me 20 years to stop smoking. It took me 30, for me it was 41 years to address my trauma and my pain and all of that. It took me 5 years to quit drinking, drugs, whatever. But it took us, for me, 41 years to get to the moment where I decided to make the change.
100%.
So it doesn't actually take us that long, but it's the moment that we actually, there's a moment where you said, you know what?
Done.
Fuck this.
Yep.
Fuck this.
Yep.
And I'm done with it. For me, it was, you know what? That rope ain't gonna fucking take me. No way. But I'm humbled by you because you got me to think now. And I'm back. So now I'm not healed. The trauma is not being addressed. I don't have the answers yet. But now I'm back to true north. Now I'm back to true north. Okay? And now we gotta do the work. Nobody ain't gonna do it for us.
There ain't no fucking
Nobody's gonna fucking save us, right?
There ain't no secret, bro. No
secret. So it's a realization that when you look at yourself in the mirror, and maybe you're listening or watching this, I always tell people, just go to the mirror for a second. Just fucking take a moment. And usually people say, fucking bullshit. No. Just go to the mirror and just look into your eyes. And yes, it sounds very stupid. Look into your eyes and do not stop looking until you smile.
Oh.
It's a fact. I have done this a gazillion times with people. Do not take your eyes off your eyes until a smile comes out. It's an automatic. It's like all of a sudden, you just smile. It's that connection to your soul. It's that connection to something. And this is not religion, by the way, because I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. I do believe in something bigger than me. But try that. If you are wherever the fuck you are, if you're feeling down just because you just have a bad day or a bad time, or maybe depression, maybe alcohol, maybe whatever the heck it is, maybe you know that you are not at your full potential as a human being, not successful, a millionaire. I'm not talking about none of that, because I had it all and it did shit to me. Okay? So there's a time and place for everything. But if you're feeling not the way you would like to feel, go into the mirror, look at the mirror. It doesn't matter if it takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, or a half a fucking hour. I guarantee you will smile. It's just the moment you will get out of your way, because there's a part of you that still believes, what I'm doing now is stupid. And oh my God, if someone would see me now, I'm a fucking idiot. Do get past that. Get out of your way. Just it's not magic because it's real. So I'm not calling it magic, but it's a very sacred moment, I want to say. It's the moment where you reconnect to yourself. And that is the moment where people always say, how do I get the clarity? How do I know what to do next? You get it when there is silence, when there is stillness.
Oh, yeah.
So people get into the meditation, right? And then they think, oh, fuck, I can't meditate. Because when I sit down, I'm fucking thinking, well, guess what? The only people who do not think are dead people. Everybody will think during meditation. What they do better than someone who just starting out is they're aware of the thought that is arising. And they can see it as it's coming. That's why they can just shut it down. Get back to what they're focusing on. So the moment you find that stillness, which I always say, go in that mirror, just wait for your face to automatically smile, that's the moment you reconnect. If you stay there and you ask yourself the question that you're looking for, the answer that you're looking for, you ask that question, and usually that question starts with how can I, not why am I, or don't worry about the why, but how or what, but rather how. And ask yourself the question, how can I feel? How can I do? How can I whatever? In that space, man, if you do not get the answer at that moment, you fucking reach out to me on Instagram, on fucking everywhere, and you tell me, listen, brother, you're a fucking idiot, and I've done it, and it's not working, right? Because, man, I'll be prepared to do it with you.
That's beautiful. Well, on that note, that is one fucking great way to end a show. I'm going to tell you that. But just holler real quick where people can find you. I love what you said, and I be honest with you, dude, it don't take me fucking a split second to smile, just so you know. That's awesome. I've been doing that shit a long time. I just look, fuck yeah,
we're
dude.
Home. This is home. This is the head. And for who is not watching, I'm pointing to my head. This is the office. This is the office. Okay. The head, the heart, the home is here in our chest. It's that heart, that something bigger than ourselves, that soul, that area that we protect so much and that we shield ourselves so much. We put all out these boundaries and whatever. One thing you got to know, if you put up a boundary, if you put up those walls, if you put up all this protection, as much as people can't come into you, you also can't go out to people. You're trapping yourself. Right. So be mindful on those boundaries. Where can you find me? Anywhere under my name, Rodolfo De Angeli, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, in LinkedIn, fucking what else is there? YouTube. And you will see that it's just starting out. My wave is just starting out again. As I have said, I stayed away from a little bit. Got a podcast, Life Artist Radio. Have a Facebook group, Life Artist Mastery, where I go live pretty much weekly and sometimes daily even, sharing stories and tools and things that I learned or I'm learning and so on and so forth. So whatever it is, man, reach out to me anywhere and mention Walt here from Be Raw Podcast. Let's say, hey, man, I heard you on there. Man, I'm happy to jump on a call with you and just have a chat and be of service to you. It'll be an honor. And I thank you, brother, for allowing me to come on and actually have an amazing time. I hope to do this again and perhaps have you on my show and continue this discussion, or perhaps do it on an Instagram live sometime, or whatever the heck it is. Put that voice out there, stay connected, because I know that, I feel the journey you are on and what you're doing for people in the world and yourself, because it always starts with ourselves. And I love to be a part of that and serve in whatever way I can, support you on your mission, as because it is the same as I have. So it's been an absolute honor, brother.
Dude, same here, man. I got goosebumps, dude. So we're gonna all your links will be in the show notes, of course. So anybody will connect there and check this guy out, man. Jump over and hit these links. A lot of good stuff. But we're going to get out of here, man, because I know everybody's got shit to do. So hang tight, bud. Man, I told you that dude's high speed. What a fucking great story, huh? Get a hold of him, man. The link is in the show notes. I bet you he would love to hear from you. All right, man, I'm going to get you out of here because I know you got shit to do. But this is one of two different types of podcasts I do within the show. Obviously, it's a full length you just listened to. The other one is in opposite weeks, and I call it B-Raw Bites, and it's 10 to 15 minutes of me yelling in this microphone about shit that I think you need to hear and what's on my heart and in my mind. I love doing them, and I do them live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're just listening to this in audio, get your ass over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, damn it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And tell a friend or seven, by the way. All right, and don't forget High Speed Daddy and Live Rishi, both amazing companies, amazing people, amazing product. Been connected with them for many years, and can't say good enough about both of those. Links in the show notes for all the details. And that, I'm hailing you from the state, well, the only state in the country where every county is classified as a metropolis area. New Jersey. All right, man. Don't act cool. Be cool. Till next time.